Hi, I'm David Carlson, the Director of Legal Advocacy here at Disability Rights Washington. We fight for the rights of people with disabilities every day by advancing the dignity, equality, and self-determination of people with disabilities across the entire state. We've had a really busy year, and I'd love to share 3 of our successes with you right now.
I'm Banji Botcher, and I am Prince Isaiah Palmore's mother. The last 5 years has been an incredible journey getting him the help he needs. He was having trouble in school, not able to sit still and focus on schoolwork. He disrupted his class. He tore up a whole classroom. He could become violent when approached, very oppositional. I didn't know what to do. I have this child acting out, and it was scary. I took him to the therapist, and they said that I'd done all I could do and that I should be proud of myself as a mom, but there was nothing more I could do and that he needed more professional help and that he probably needed to go to an inpatient program. He's already been hospitalized when he was 4. I didn't want him to go through that again, and I was just working so hard to try to do everything that I could to help him.
Susan Cass, Staff Attorney, Disability Rights Washington.
The reality for a lot of kids with needs like Isaiah's is that in order to keep them safe, they would need to be placed in settings like hospitals or institutions or group homes. The problem with this is that oftentimes kids who are cycling in and out of hospitals and institutions aren't able to learn the skills they need in order to function in their own homes and communities. So what DRW did was to file a lawsuit against the Department of Social and Health Services and the Healthcare Authority, which eventually settled. And as part of the settlement, these state agencies agreed to implement what was called Wraparound with Intensive Services, or WISE for short. And WISE is intended to be a comprehensive program of intensive behavioral health services that will help kids thrive and successfully grow up in their own homes and communities.
Banji.
When I got into the WISE program, then I learned why it was so important to do the intensive services in the home and at school in his own environment instead of putting him in a hospital. Ever since we graduated from the WISE, which was in August of 2015, he's thriving in the community. He's doing great at school. I haven't received one phone call from the school for him acting out, and so I'm very pleased.
Banji's son, Isaiah.
My poster is about how I got better. Before the WISE program, I was doing bad. They helped my family get closer to each other.
Susan.
Cases like Isaiah's illustrate the reason why DRW advocated for WISE. When you give to DRW, you are helping us to continue to advance the rights of people with disabilities in all aspects of their life.
Leonard Guster, client of Disability Rights Washington.
I want to become a flight attendant. Since I was 11 years old, my dream is to become one. I applied a Pan Am flight school to get the experience on the training, to know what to expect in the training prior to apply to Delta Airlines for training school. The Pan Am flight school teach people how to become a flight attendant. When Pan Am does not accept me due to my disability, which means hearing impaired, I feel depressed. I decided to find out who's willing to help me to break the barrier of my disability. So I went to meet Sarah.
My name's Sarah Eaton, and I'm a staff attorney here at Disability Rights Washington. I represented Leonard in the matter with Pan Am International Flight School. So Leonard came to DRW after he had been told by the Pan Am Flight School that they wouldn't be able to provide him an interpreter for the class, and he wanted to know what his rights were and how he could be assured that he would be able to take the class and have it be accessible. Ultimately, this comes down to equal access. Leonard wants to be a flight attendant. He's wanted to be a flight attendant for a really long time. He identified this course as something that would help him get to his career goal. And so we contacted the school and spoke with the instructor of the course and were able to work out ways in which Leonard would be able to access the class. They agreed to provide him an ASL interpreter for the duration of the course.
Leonard.
I feel awesome and happy and relieved. And I want to thank DRW that they have worked hard for me to enter the school because of my disability, and I have got all the requirements that I need in order to pass the training.
Sarah.
When you give to DRW, it helps us to be able to advocate for people like Leonard and to advocate for that equal access for everyone.
My name is Marilyn Roberts. I have a 29-year-old son who has a mental illness. He has bipolar disorder. In June of 2014, he had a minor incident that ended him up in our local jail. He is not a harm to anyone, but he does say and do very irrational things, and so people don't understand that. Once he gets in a confined environment, away from family and support systems, away from his pets, he will not do well. And so that was very scary for me to know he was going to be somewhere isolated, that he wasn't going to be able to see anybody or talk to anybody and get the help that he needed. I initially thought that Kevin would only be in jail a couple of weeks. He would get the hospitalization he needed, and that was a good scenario because he was quite ill at the time. As the first couple of weeks rolled across, I would go to the jail on a regular basis. I would sit at their waiting time and talk to lots of other people that were in the same situation, and no one could understand why are all these people in jail when they should be getting medical care. His total time in jail was 97 days.
Emily Cooper, staff attorney, Disability Rights Washington.
The reason Kevin waited months in jail is he was waiting for a bed at the state hospital for competency restoration services. Competency restoration services are mental health services geared to restore someone to competency, whether that be medication, therapy, or other treatment. Kevin and others like him were waiting weeks or even months for these court-ordered mental health services because the state hospitals didn't hire and retain enough doctors to provide these services.
Marilyn.
I just happened to call some of our local resources through the National Alliance on Mental Illness and got a hold of our main board attorney, who said, you need to contact Disability Rights Washington. What is happening to your son is illegal. So I was connected with Disability Rights Washington.
Emily.
Since 2008, we saw hundreds, if not thousands, of vulnerable people languishing in jail, waiting for these court-ordered mental health services. We knew it was time to take action. DRW represented Kevin and his mother, as well as others like him, in a federal lawsuit where our goal was a federal court order enforcing the Constitution and demanding that DSHS provide these services within 7 days. The federal court agreed with us. The state was violating the constitutional rights of Kevin and the others like him who were waiting in jail for mental health services.
Marilyn.
If it were not for Disability Rights Washington and organizations like them, in specific situations like Kevin's case, there would be no one to advocate for him. It is extremely important to have organizations in place that will advocate for people that are not able to advocate for themselves. If we don't have those in place, then people aren't going to get the help that they need.
Emily.
By giving to us, you're ensuring that our work doesn't stop here.
Sarah.
With your support, DRW can continue to advance the rights of people with disabilities in all aspects of their life.
Susan.
Please help us continue pursuing a vision of an inclusive society where people with disabilities can thrive in their homes and communities.
David.
I'm really proud of Disability Rights Washington's staff and all of the work they do. I also really appreciate you coming out here tonight to show your support of disability rights. If you see that our mission aligns well with yours, please give to Disability Rights Washington today so that we can continue to do this great work over the years to come.